voltamos com as nossas atividades aqui da plenária com o tema Transformação Digital no Varejo, melhore a experiência do cliente no ponto de venda e identifique novas fontes de receita. Nós convidamos Nick Catero, diretor de Desenvolvimento de Negócios da British Telecom.
Bom dia, good morning. My name is Nick Catero, and I'm coming to Brazil from New York today. Very happy to be here, and thank you for having me and letting me present in English today. I wanted to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about where BT has been involved in retail, some trends that we're seeing in the industry, and some success stories that we've looked at and will hopefully inform you on some of the right ways to be going about innovation in retail. And at BT we like to think about what we call the digital possible, because with the host of new technologies that are coming out today and all of the new capabilities that we have across various industries, it really is about what's possible. Even though we've been talking about the digital age for some time now, and even looking at the dot-com era taking about 10 years, we're really at the beginning of what digital can do to industries, and retail is a huge part of that. So when we look at technology like robotics, quantum computing, the Internet of Things, there's huge industrial opportunities associated with them. And what we've seen in talking with our customers is it's not so much about what the technology can do and trying to find the perfect technology to transform your business, but rather focusing on what the key challenges and opportunities are within your industry, and then identifying the technologies to address those challenges. And that's the way that we approach opportunities in retail, and working with our retail customers and understanding, where can they be competitive? Where can they change and transform their business in order to be a leader in their market? So looking a little bit closer at retail itself, what are the focus areas? Well, retail first and foremost is all about the consumer. The consumer drives virtually everything that retail does, both in the way it services, the way it operates, and the way it designs and sells its products. Now, the consumer, like you and me, all of us interact with retail every day, so we have our own expectations about what that experience should be like. And because it's something everyone does, we all have an opinion about it. But I think what's really important, and what we're seeing specifically at the cusp of this digital age, is consumer expectations are higher than ever. And that's driven largely by the experience that consumers have online. I'm sure many of you have shopped online before across a variety of different retail outlets, and you've had a pretty great experience doing that in certain areas. One, it's very easy to research all types of products that you want. It's very easy to compare pricing. You have all of the information at your fingertips, and oftentimes that experience is very customized to you. Your profile is saved on the internet, so when you access your favorite retail website, all of your favorite items, your preferences are stored there. It's a good experience for consumers, and it's created a high expectation. Now, the next aspect we have is the business, and technology is enabling a host of new ways to transform the way that retailers operate, whether it's RFID to help manage inventory better, whether it's guest Wi-Fi access in the stores to improve that consumer experience, or even some very advanced things like using predictive analytics and big data to help determine which product should be shipped to what stores, and anticipating consumer demand and reaping the benefits from that. And then finally, we have the technology. This is what's enabling these two transformations across the business and the consumer. There are a range of different technologies available today, and as retailers and as service providers, it's up to us to figure out the mix and match of what technologies are truly going to have that impact. So these are the three areas that we're going to be looking at in a bit more detail today. Now, when we think about the retail business model, fairly simple. We have, sort of four main areas that we're looking at. Technology can really address each of these in an interesting way. Sourcing and procurement, how you buy, what you ship, and how your supply chain operates and gets to your stores. Distribution, how you select the products that go into each of your stores, demand generation, sales, marketing, how do you create that desire within your customer, and then your operations in the store, how you manage that customer experience, how you engage with the consumer. And if you look at the research across each of these areas, there's loads of opportunity to address them with technology. Typically, consumers are underwhelmed with their experience in retail, and that's partly driven by their high expectations that we talked about and what they see online. So, from the retailer's perspective, when we look at what's on the agenda typically and what are our customers concerned about addressing, it's what you see on the left here. So, how do I increase the revenues in my stores? How do I drive more sales? How do I provide customers with a seamless experience? Which means, when they interact with me across channels, maybe it's mobile, maybe it's website, maybe it's in the store, how do I create that single customer profile so that the customer doesn't know, they don't think about the channel, they just think about the brand? Maximizing employee productivity and performance is also very important. Part of the reason that people still go into the store today is because they like that experience with a person who knows the product and the brand, and they expect that experience with them to be elevated beyond what they could find online. Streamlining and optimizing operations. Any of you who've worked in retail ops before know that there's a load of opportunity to make things faster and better. We've looked at a variety of different technologies to do that, but really understanding what the retail business process is, where those opportunities are, and how we can speed things up. Security is another really critical aspect that I think in retail, a lot of retailers have thought we've addressed that because we have PCI compliance and we protect people in the way that they pay for these goods. However, when we think about the new technologies that are going in stores today, like Wi-Fi, like beacons, like RFID, there's a host of new opportunities for hacking to happen in the store. So it's important to have the right strategy around protecting your digital touch points in the store. And then finally, gathering all of this information across your operations, across the consumer experience, and across how you manage your IT infrastructure, combining those insights into a big data solution or platform can reveal a host of new opportunities to you that you may have not been able to see before. So we work with a lot of partners who connect these various data sets and find new insights and opportunities beyond what we talked about here. So it's a huge topic, the digital transformation in retail. We could talk about it all day. But I'm going to focus very specifically now on transformation in the store. And I think this is really key and interesting because that's where retailers are sort of falling flat today. Online experience, very good. It's probably as good as it can be. In the store, and you'll see in our booth outside in Alexander Black some examples of that, is where we're bringing technology into the store so that consumer expectations are matched or exceeded to what they've experienced online. And we think this is so important because it depends on what segment of retail you're serving, but the good portion of retail sales are still happening in the store. Even though online is growing every year and customers are more and more comfortable with purchasing things online, the store is very critical. And even given that it's so critical, if you look at what customers are expecting, only few retailers have really created that seamless experience, that seamless digital experience that customers are looking for. So there's a huge challenge, but also a giant opportunity associated with that in advancing the store today. Now, what you see here is probably, when you think about the digital store, it's something like this. It's a lot of different technologies and touch points for consumers to engage with in the retail environment. So, just on this slide alone, you can see some of the different technologies. You've maybe experienced some of these in shopping before, but you have, interactive touch tables, you have digital signage that's dynamic. It can change based on who's in the store using video analytics. You have RFID tag product, which helps you manage what's on your sales floor in the back room.
You have mobile point of sale to help bust lines in the store to make sure that people aren't waiting to check out. You have enhanced security gates. You have intelligent fitting rooms. All of these technologies I've seen deployed in some state with some retailers. However, this picture, very few retailers will ever get here. And they don't need to get here. And the fact is that of all the technologies out there, it's not about a strategy driven by selecting the right technology. You can't just decide to use digital signage and think that because every other retailer is using it or because it's the new technology in the field that it's going to transform your business. The way to address these opportunities is to first start with what are our customers expecting? Who is our shopper? What types of devices are they using? What types of expectations do they have? And how do we select the right technologies to address those opportunities? And to sort of go into a little bit more detail about this, I want to talk about 3 examples of very different projects, very different business models using the same technology. And I think this will help show that it's not about the technology, it's about the problem and how the technology can address it. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with RFID technology, radio frequency identification, it's a way to scan products in a very quick amount of time without having to actually scan a barcode. So typically when you take inventory, you scan 1, 2, 3, 4, on and on. It takes a long time. With RFID, each tag has an embedded microchip and antenna. You can wave around a wand, and it picks up all of those tags instantaneously. So you can do an inventory of 10,000 products in a matter of seconds just by waving around this wand. Very cool technology. But at least in what we've seen in the United States, a lot of retailers said, RFID, let's do it. Let's go all the way in. It's the right technology. And we've seen so many projects with RFID fail, because they thought that RFID was going to solve their problems, and they didn't identify the challenge that they were setting themselves up to solve. Now, here are three retailers who did it right. The first retailer was a jewelry retailer, and what they did is they picked a key problem that they had in their stores, and it was, how do we adjust the price of our products based on the price of gold? Because when gold increases in value and they're still selling the ring for the same price, they lose that margin opportunity. So they used RFID to, whenever a customer asked for a price, they would scan the product with an RFID reader, and it would return the latest price based on the price of gold. So dynamic pricing. That alone paid for the technology, improved their customer experience, and then allowed them to address all these other opportunities that they saw around eliminating their reticketing process because they didn't have to change pricing. They can improve the customer experience because they didn't have to look through books to find what the latest price was. They had it right there in their hands. They could sell products by scanning the RFID tags on a tablet and create an endless aisle experience and show what other products were available. And then also use the RFID for inventory accuracy. So they had their problem, they addressed it, they found the right technology, and then the benefits flowed from there. The next retailer, same technology, different problem. They had a very high velocity store where it was difficult to keep the right products available for the consumer to buy. So they had a lot of tourists visit their store, and tourists from all over the world, they would just pack a whole stack of polos in a suitcase and leave the store with that. So, lots of really high velocity shopping. And the challenge for them was keeping the right size available, because if the customer doesn't see their size or their color on the sales floor, they're going to walk out because they're so busy they don't have time to ask for help or for the size. So they used RFID to scan the sales floor, scan the back room every day. They know what product is available on the sales floor, what product can be replenished, and by doing that, they had a massive sales uplift and were able to improve customer experience by making sure the product was always available. The last retailer, another different problem, same technology. They were worried about supply chain acceleration. They had little visibility between their distribution centers through to their freight forwarders through to the store. So they used RFID to track how quickly their product was moving from the distribution center to the stores. And by doing so, they found that sometimes their third-party freight were not operating with the SLAs that they told them, so they were able to address that. And they were also able to make sure that that product was there for sale. So these retailers started the right way. And even though it works a little bit differently across different retail channels and segments, I think we found a blueprint that works very well for most retailers. Most of them start here, where you're evaluating the technology. You come to a trade show like today and you see something cool and you say, okay, that looks like it would work in my store. So you start with evaluating the technology, and then you immediately go to deploy the pilot. Now, sometimes that works, but oftentimes that's where you fail, because you haven't gone through the process of really understanding what that technology can do for you, and you've created a bunch of stress and challenge in your business to where no one else wants to try technology again if it fails. The right way to do it, and this is, we've seen this supported across the various consulting groups like McKinsey, is to really start with your strategy. So knowing your customer, knowing the profile of that customer, what their expectations are, what you're trying to achieve with technology in terms of transformation, and identifying that first. The next step is creating a cross-functional team. It's not just about IT, it's not just about marketing, it's not just about operations. Everyone has to work together. Otherwise, you don't have the full view of the opportunity and the business. That cross-functional team should be your consultants, your true brain power in the organization, because they're the ones who are going to be identifying opportunities. They're going to spot where technology can address those challenges for you. And in the meantime, what you've also done is created a lab with the different technologies that you think might be interesting. Purely technology tests, because you want to understand what the capabilities of the technology is. And you're doing evaluation along the way. So that by the time your team has identified the right opportunities, you have a technology to solve it. So you have two processes working together to make sure that you've selected the right solution. Now, before you deploy anything in the store, what you have to do is identify the key success criteria. That'll be something from the list that I showed you earlier. Is it improve your sales? Is it speed up your operations? Is it provide better business insight? All of those should be measurable things that you look at when you're testing the technology. Then you plan and deploy a business pilot. Do it in your stores. Make sure that the impact that you want is transferable to a real-life environment. Typically, we do pilots for about 3 months and evaluate the business benefit across that period of time. And then at the end, we evaluate it against a business case, an ROI model, and plan for a deployment. So using, I think, this innovation cycle gives you the right tools that you need in order to have success in the digital possible. Now, the other aspect of success in the digital world is the idea of a platform. And a lot of retailers also struggle when they deploy technology because it doesn't do all of the things that they hoped it would. And usually the reason for that is they haven't gone through the effort of creating a platform that can leverage all of the information and tools that they already have. And this is a slide from Forrester in an article they published in 2015, and I think it really visually captures some of the key elements of the platform, where you have your back office systems connected through your platform into your store systems and your digital touch points, so that regardless if the customer is interacting with a digital sign or a kiosk or a mobile application, the same CRM data, the same inventory information, the same brand experiences are all available across those digital touch points. And when you look at this slide, it's probably kind of scary, because it looks like you have to do a lot of re-architecting in your organization and changing your systems and updating everything. But I don't think that's necessary. I think there's a few key components that align with this platform approach, that if you take this approach, you don't need to do, you can still have a phased implementation of the platform. And really, what those are is digitizing your merchandise and content. So making sure that all your product information, your assets, your pictures, your content associated with that merchandise is available for use. Because as I said earlier, maybe you want to demonstrate it on a sign, maybe you want to demonstrate it on a website, a mobile app. It should be the same content across a variety of those different channels. And if you decide that a particular experience doesn't work, you have the flexibility to create something new very quickly because you have all of that content stored in one place. The next platform objective is creating a single view of customer. So this is really where your CRM solution comes in place, because just like you want your content to be consistent, you want the interaction with the customer to be consistent too. If I start shopping online and I come into a store, I'd like that store to know what my basket was online, the things that I like to look at, so that they can offer me recommendations that are tailored to me. And then finally, the integration of organizational silos. So in a lot of retailers today, they operate in two main business units. You have your online business unit, and you have your traditional in-store business unit. And if you operate your business that way, you're creating a conflict between two areas of your business, and oftentimes there's competition. So if somebody buys online and returns in-store, the store takes the hit. And you want to erase that competition, because part of the omni-channel experience for the customer is ensuring that those barriers are already broken down. So if you have two business units operating separately, you're set up for failure. So just generally, sort of going through the opportunity and the approach, I think it will help a little bit more to go maybe take a deep dive into an example of a project we've done where some of these processes have been followed and have been successful. So I'm going to walk you through an example of a customer that we worked with in the U.S. who is a apparel and home goods retailer, high-end. And they had a set of challenges. We've worked with them across a variety of projects, but they had a set of challenges that they came to talk to us about. And it revealed an opportunity to deploy a technology that's had a lot of success. So just going through what their business model looked like. Limited store footprint. So high-end retailer, maybe 50 stores in the United States, not a huge channel for which to sell furniture. They had a highly customizable product assortment. So to give you an example, they sell maybe 400 pieces of furniture. Each furniture comes in a variety of finishes and fabrics, up to 3,000 different fabrics. So when the customer's shopping for a couch, for example, there's really endless options they have in selecting something that's personalized to them. Because they're a luxury retailer, their customer has very high expectations, and they like an enhanced level of service. They also had a fragmented ordering process. So you can imagine ordering a sofa with different finish and fabric. There was about 3 or 4 different order forms that the sales associate had to fill out, which took about an hour and a half. That's how complex they were. So poor customer experience. They're sitting around waiting for things to be done, and potentially losing the upsell opportunity. Oftentimes, the retailer built an entire house or an entire set of rooms for a customer. So a very lengthy consultation and design process, a lot of engagement required from the customer. And then finally, what really created the opportunity is they saw really high market demand for their product, but using their existing channels and experiences, they had limited growth potential. So they wanted to address this challenge and say, how do we drive the growth that we know is available? How do we select the right tool and experience for our customers to really make this happen? So going back to our chart, they followed the right process. They identified a challenge that they had, and they sought a technology to address that. So we launched an application with them, and I think we have a version of it actually running out in our stand a little bit outside at Alexander Black, if you'd like to see it. But basically, they took all of their furniture and they created a 3D digital model of it that could be used in an application. And what this application does is it allows a customer to come in, design their own space and home very simply and easily, And then they can pull in 3D models of the furniture into the 3D space and customize it with various fabrics and finishes. So they can see really what this product will look like in their own home, which is what everyone wants when they're shopping for furniture. So now, rather than the sales professionals having to hold a fabric next to a piece of furniture and a light over top, they could actually build that experience out and show the customer what it would look like. At the same time, as they're building these rooms and configuring the furniture items, they're capturing all of those customizations in an order form. So they've completely eliminated that lengthy order form process. And now when they're done with the design, they can simply print it out and email it and ship it home with the customer. So now they get more time with the customer, and now they have an opportunity to share with them or to get their email address and share that with them as well. So really effective way to address some of the challenges they were having. And because they started small and focused on this problem, they had a huge success just on the iPads alone. And the reason they were successful, they created that cross-functional team. They met with their sales associates to ensure that the experience they were creating wasn't about technology, it was about enhancing the way that they do business every day. So we had focus groups with the sales professionals to ensure that they liked the tool and they understood what they could do with it. So the other thing they did is they focused on just a few things to address first. They didn't try to launch online, in-store, on big screens. They just focused on iPad first. They proved out the success on the iPad, and then they translated that into other experiences and then other product categories like fashion and watches. And finally, and this is something that people forget about a lot, is really figuring out the support model. So with employees using technology in the store, if it doesn't work for them, they're not going to use it, they're not going to have the faith in it, and they're going to simply abandon it. So ensuring that they had the right support model, and this is something that we really helped them out with, ensuring that they were secure and managed, they were able to, any issues they have, resolve very quickly and make sure that the technology was working. So I hope this demonstrates, a project that's been successful and helps you understand sort of the approach that we take with our customers. And I just want to challenge you as you go through the rest of the event today and look at all the technology available and all of the solutions that providers like ourselves have to show you today, is to really think about your business and how you want to structure the innovation process, because that's what's going to drive you to success. So thank you very much for your attention today. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Do we have time for questions, if there are any? No? Okay, perfect. Well, thank you again. Appreciate it.